Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Sorry, Clark. Give me a thumbs up if you hear me now. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. So let's start all over. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to a technical challenge, Angie's Angles. It is November the 20th in the year, my Lord, 2025. I got my good friend Dave sitting in here, fellow Met fan. We want to give out a shout out to Lily, Dave's daughter, for making the music honor roll. You keep it up, honey. Great job. Great job. All right. So tonight we're going to talk about the Major League 2026 first timers. We're not going to really spend time on the people that have been on for a while, but we're going to list the guys that became eligible this year. Go through the list. We got Cole Hamels, Ryan Braun, Alex Gordon, Shin-Soo Choo, Edwin Encarnación, Hunter Pence, Matt Kemp. We got Rick Porcello, Dan Murphy, Howie Kendrick, Nick Markakis, and Matt Wieters. Eric, take Bauer and shove it where the sun don't shine, if you know what I mean, brother. Yeah, Clark, Dave's a big Met fan. We've been to a couple games together. We went to opening day this year, and sadly, we didn't have a season that we expected. So let's go guy by guy. So my concern or my upsetness, if that's such a word, is that none of these first timers, in my humble opinion, is the first time, sixth time, last time eligible Hall of Fame player. None of these guys on the list belong in the Hall of Fame. Now, I have to throw caveats out there because if a guy like Scott Rowland and Joe Mayer make the Hall of Fame, there's something wrong in the state of Denmark. There's something rotten in the state of Denmark. Cole Hamels, 3.56 ERA, move on. Ryan Braun, we know he cheated, move on. Alex Gordon, we don't even spend a minute.
Who is he?
Alex Gordon. Who is it? Shin-Soo Choo, Choo Cuckoo. Edwin Encarnación had a nice season, but not a Hall of Famer. Hunter Pence, same. Matt Kemp, same. Rick Porcello, no good. Daniel Murphy, he only belongs in the Met Hall of Fame. Oh, no, Mark. You can't hear me on Facebook. That's upsetting. All right, that's too bad. Howie Kendrick, no dice. Nick Markakis, and Matt Wieters. So Dave and I were talking offline before the show started how back in the 70s, if your name was on the Hall of Fame list, right, Scott Rowland should not have been Clark. Scott Rowland does not belong in the Hall of Fame, especially if Jeff Kent's not in the Hall of Fame. There's no chance Scott Rowland belongs in the Hall of Fame. And Jeff Kent's eligible on this new era committee, and I hope that he gets his due diligence. 500 slugging percentage, the most home runs as a second baseman. I mean, come on now. The guy was a beast. A 300 batting average lifetime. Stop. He was a beast. Just to name a few. So, yeah, none of these guys on the first year of eligibility, in my humble opinion. And remember, you need 5% of the votes to be on it for next year. And with the exception of maybe, with the exception of maybe Edwin Encarnación and Matt Kemp, who might get a 5% vote, I think everybody else falls off the wayside. What do you say, Dave?
I agree. There's no one really that stands out as like a first timer, second timer, Hall of Famer.
Or 10th timer.
No.
Jose Reyes will never see the Hall of Fame. You know, Eric, he'll see the Hall of Fame just like you and I do. He'll buy a ticket. Eric Floyd, what's in the house, brother? How you doing, Eric? Thanks for joining Angie's Angles. Blue Raider, throw a comment on where you're from, sir. Thank you so much. So baseball, the Hall of Fame has become bastardized. And I was going off on a tangent saying the players of the 70s, early 80s. They were the who's who of baseball. They were the baseball gods. There was not one guy on the list that was even borderline. They were all qualified guys. Oh, all right, Harold. Sorry, I can't tell by your picture. That's funny. Oh, Harold Atkins. There you go. Hey, Harold, how are you? Terry, what's going on? With Mustafa, walk-in barbershop. Good job, Mustafa. I thank you for being here. Mark Brooks, how can you say that Kent should not make it? Mark, do you understand his numbers? I mean, you're my brother from another, but Mark, Jeff Kent had a prodigious. Eric Floyd, David Wright, no. Hall of Fame, no to David Wright. No chance. Don Mattingly deserves to go in before David Wright. And you know me, I hate the Skankies. If you know what I mean. Eric Schuster, your bro love for both Trevor Bauer and Jose Reyes, man. You got to pick up new guys, bro. This ain't working. I mean, Jose Reyes assault and battery on his wife, and I don't want to hear Eric. I don't want to hear that the wife dropped the charges. Why wouldn't she? I mean, the guy was making $1 gazillion. I mean, I'm not saying it's right that she got hit and that she accepted that. No woman should ever accept being hit. Period. End of question mark. Right, Harold. Good point. Might just put Harold Atkins up on the big screen. Might as well add Danny Tartable on the list if that's the best we have. I mean, come on. Oh, we're good on YouTube now, Mark. Great. That's awesome. Thank you, brother. I had the well, I don't want to call it a pleasure, but it was my pleasure. Mark Brooks' dad, Donald Brooks, at the beautiful age of 95, passed away last week. And the ceremony and the services was in Connecticut, just the throne stone across the Sound up by Port Jefferson. So I jumped on a ferry. I went and paid my respects. I got to meet Mark again and his wonderful family, Anaya, Ava Lee, his wife Tony, his daughters Devin and China. I met his son. So what? Just a wonderful family. It was an amazing ceremony for your dad. Your dad was beloved by everybody. So Mark, from Angie's Angles, we're offering our condolences again on the loss of your dad, brother. Ben Begun, what's going on? Beltrán should not get into the Hall of Fame, Ben, and thanks for bringing up the name. Carlos Beltrán was the ringleader for the cheating Astros. And it's a shame because the guy had an amazing career. If we're going to just talk about the career, Carlos Beltrán is a bona fide Hall of Famer, bar none, yes. But just like the reasons that Jeff Kent was being delayed into the Hall of Fame, just like Eddie Murray didn't get in on the first time because they had bad attitudes. If you cheat in baseball, I don't care who you are, you're out. You don't belong. Ben, what do you say to that, buddy? Eric Schuster. I don't care if the wife forgave Jose Reyes. You're a man. Be a man. Don't have moments of fit and rage, and don't hit a woman. You hit a woman, you're not a man. I'm sorry. It's plain and simple. And that's the last I'm going to give you or him anymore time.
I agree 100%.
Thank you, Dave. Yeah, A-Rod cheated too, and A-Rod's not in the Hall of Fame, Eric, so I'm not really sure what you're talking about. He's on the list, but he's not purposely being put in. Clemens ain't in. Bonds ain't in. All for those reasons. Clark Altman, don't get me started with Pete Rose, the freaking pedophile son of a B that he is. No. Pete Rose also gambled on baseball, another cardinal rule that quantifies as immediate elimination from the Sacred Hall of Fame. Okay? Eric, I'm not in here to have a sociology conversation about Jose Reyes' wife. I don't know her. I'm sure she's a wonderful woman. But And that's why spousal abuse, especially against women, exists in this country, because the women keep coming back and taking it. So I'm sorry. Once he raised his hand to his wife and struck her, he's not a man. He doesn't belong anywhere in the headlines other than an orange jumpsuit, if you know what I mean. So we're off that topic. So this year's class is so disappointing. So the rule is you can't be eligible for a Hall of Fame until you're 10 years out of Major League Baseball, right? And there have been some errors made, in my opinion, about guys getting in. Joe Mauer, Scott Rowland. The fact that Nolan Ryan was not a unanimous decision Hall of Fame is just absolutely insane and ridiculous. Same goes for Tom Seaver. The fact that Mariano Rivera, fantastic ball player, until lately a fantastic human being, and he's got this whole church scandal with the sexual abuse going on with his church. So we got to see how that plays out. So I'm not really sure that any of this violence has a place in Cooperstown. Now, sure, Mickey Mantle, Joe DiMaggio, Babe Ruth, womanizers, alcoholics. That is self-hurt, okay? Being a womanizer, while morally is not acceptable or correct, in my opinion, that was between the two parties, and there was no violence. If they knew this guy, if the woman knew this guy was married and still wanted to engage in sexual activity, that was on her. And it doesn't bode well for the man either. But being alcoholic didn't affect anybody. And apparently, Mickey Mantle and Whitey Ford played pretty well when they were drunk. Not really sure. Eric Schuster, what's your question about Mike Piazza? Mike Piazza belongs in the Hall of Fame, 1,000%, 1,000%. Cole Hamels had a 3.56 ERA. Sure, he had a couple of good seasons. Another guy that should not have been a first-time Hall of Famer, CC Sabathia. He had like a 3.80 ERA. I mean, sure, he was big game. He was big time, without a doubt. He was a premier pitcher, without a doubt. But is that Hall of Fame a 3.96, 3.86 ERA lifetime? Is that a Hall of Famer? No shot, in my opinion. No shot. Right, Mark. Jeff didn't have a good season with them. Is that why you don't want him in the Hall of Fame? Jeff Kent went on to have a fantastic Hall of Fame. And let me tell you something. Jeff Kent was a blue-collar guy. He showed up. He did his job. He packed up and he went home. He didn't go out to the clubs. He didn't womanize. He went home to his family. And he was terse with his teammates, and he was terse with the media. And that shouldn't exclude you if you have a moral compass. I'm sorry. That should be awarded, not detriment. Mike Piazza should not have been unanimous, Eric. No, he should not have been unanimous. Mike Piazza was a better catcher than he gets credit for, but he was pedestrian as a catcher. So his whole overall baseball ship was not unanimous. So let's call a spade if we can. We're going to put Harold Sanderson up. He goes, I agree. The violence and cheating are the line we draw. While we can't expect these men to be saints, but don't be criminal. Amen to that, Harold. Amen. So Kevin Elliott, thanks for joining us from Hollywood, Florida. He wants to say that Ken had some rumors follow him from the DR. If you're going to try to allege that Jeff Kent did steroids, I'm gonna battle you to the end, my friend. Okay, battle you to the end. So Harold Atkins, I agree, right? Jeff Kent and Nolan Ryan were two Mets that should have never been traded. However, at the time, Nolan Ryan was wild. Like, it's great to have hindsight to play the Monday morning quarterback game. We could all do that, and we do it every day at the water coolers. the fact that the Mets had that vaulted pitching staff, they felt that they could get, trade a Nolan Ryan. The only problem is we got a bum in return. I mean, come on now. We did not get good value for him. All right, I don't know. Then what's the DR thing that you're saying about Jeff Kent? You got to explain what you said. Some rumors follow him from the Dominican Republic. The 69 stamp, the 70, 71, 72. Mets had powerhouse pitching back in the day. Something that has eluded them since, sadly enough. Even Doc Gooden had his struggles, right? Doc Gooden. Eric Schuster. Does Doc Gooden belong in the Hall of Fame? Absolutely not. Darryl Strawberry? Absolutely not. Mark Brooks wants to say, what will it take to get Keith Hernandez in the Hall of Fame? Clutch hit and best defensive first baseman ever. There's no arguments there, Mark, about Keith Hernandez being the best overall defensive first baseman. Keith also had his demons with the cocaine. So that could be a reason why he's out of the Hall. He's a borderline guy, and if you take away the cocaine, I say yes. Eric Floyd, my 5-year-old twins are watching with me. Shout out to Aubrey and Lexi. Aubrey said, loves the Mets colors. All right, Aubrey and Lexi, congratulations. I think you guys played for the Cubs. I hear you had a fantastic season. Good job. Good job. So Aubrey and Lexi, Angie's Angle sends their love. Yeah, we just brought up the Keith Hernandez issue, Kevin. And that's predominantly why I think that he's not in the Hall of Fame. If you take that error away from Keith Hernandez, I think he's Hall of Fame, especially if you have Scott Rowland in. You definitely have to put Keith in. So you definitely have to you got to put Jeff Kent in the new era. These knuckleheads that are first timers, I'm going to say I think there were 20 of them. Maybe 25 guys on the new list that are eligible. I say probably 3 make it to next year. I think 17 or whatever the number is, 20, 22, they don't get the 5% vote to move on. That's just my humble opinion. Eric Schuster, you know how I feel about Derek Jeter. He's 100% overrated. He was voted by his peers as the number 1 overrated player in Major League Baseball. He just happened to be born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He was at the right place at the right time. And at the same token, though, Eric, you can't take away his 3,000 hits. I mean, that's usually a milestone for admission into the Hall of Fame. Now, with that said, yeah, who's bringing this up? Clark is telling us they made a rule because of Hernandez. The first base has to be totally inside the line to hold a runner. Yeah, because Keith Hernandez was a lefty, so he had 1 foot in foul territory, and they had to adapt the rule to say that all the players had to be between the lines, which makes sense in my personal humble opinion. Clark, yeah, as Kevin just said, he was co-MVP. I think, what was it, Willie Stargell and him were co-MVPs. I think it was in 87. No, not 87. Could have been 77. I'm not really sure, but they were co-MVPs. I'm just trying to go off the top of my head. So this has been engaging Angie's Angles tonight. It's been interactive, which we love to do on Angie's Angles. Eric Schuster, I'm not sure what you're bringing up with the minus 165 DRS. Oh, is that his defense? We're talking. Yeah, I thought it was 87 Clark. No, Clark. Keith was a Met in 86, so it couldn't have been 87. No chance. I think it was 77, to be honest with you. 77, 78. Right, it wasn't 87 for sure. Because Keith was a Met, and he got it with the Cardinals. Anyway, we're at the 8:52 mark, but I really appreciate everybody's interactivity tonight. I'm sorry we had a little technical issues in the beginning. We'll get those fixed. I got to get a new cord to fix my mic. This is the part where we go into the prayer circle. Harold, we're praying for Dawn Squared, Carolyn Bob, and your buddy Jerry. Terry Sanchez, we're praying for your mom's legs and keeping your mother-in-law and your uncle in our memories. Antoinette Brooks, we're praying still for your brother Mike as he's in search of a kidney. Scott Tobias, we're praying for your wife and your mom. Linda Stein, my friend, we're praying for your hand surgery. New hiccups on the hand surgery, and we're hoping they all go well. We're praying for your dad and your mom. We don't forget mom too. Kevin Elliott, we pray for those health issues that you have and the additional mental issues that you give me every day. Kraus family, we pray for Aubrey as her cancer remains in remission. Deb and Lee down in Maryland, we're praying for you guys. Mary Ann Bella, my dear friend from Las Vegas, we're praying for you and your mom. Larry Levy, we got your wife Frida as she's in remission with cancer also. Mr. McGowan, sir, we got your 6, my friend. Ralph, good friend of smoke therapy, we're praying for your health injuries. Pete and Shani down in Florida, we're praying for you guys greatly. Like to report that Tom's pneumonia's been here and gone. Tom's pneumonia has left the building. We're also praying for his friend Pat. Big John, we're praying for your friend Irene. Joe Echevarria, we're praying for your heart. West Coast Dave Prince, we're praying for better blood results. Johnny Barbecue, December 2nd, I think Johnny's going for some surgery to alleviate his sciatica. Johnny W., we're praying for Elizabeth. Johnny V., we're praying for your father-in-law. Once again, we're praying for may Donald Brooks, Mark Brooks' father, rest in eternal peace. 95 years long. We'll all sign up for that exactly in this moment. And that concludes our prayer list. Dave, you got anybody you want to throw on there?
No, I'm good.
Dave's good here. Dave's just sitting here looking pretty. So please join us next week. Hopefully we got some trade innuendos going. There's heavy rumors that Nimmo and Senga are on the market. There was a rumor for Nimmo for Trout straight up plus $16 million to the Angels. As much as hashtag Nimmo sucks, I don't make that trade. I want no part and parcel of Mike Trout. If Mike Trout's career ends today, he's not a Hall of Famer, guys. Look at his numbers. He's not a Hall of Famer. He had phenomenal seasons, no doubt. He went on a tear, but his final numbers are not Hall of Fame worthy. You heard it here first. Yes, Nimmo's got a no-trade clause, but they can buy that out, Kevin. We all know how that works. There's also been rumors with Pete going here, there, and everywhere. Mr. Cohen, Mr. Stearns, I make an impassioned, emotional plea. Sign the man. Edwin Diaz, I don't care if he leaves. We'll make Clay Holmes our closer. Maybe even Sean Manaea. Maybe it's a bullpen by committee between Manaea and Holmes. Lefty-righty tandem. That'd be something to see. Holy Hannah. 404 home runs is not Hall of Fame worthy. Look at David Arthur Kingman. 442 home runs, for God's sakes. All-Star, MVP. Cut it out. It's been Angie's Angles. Come to you live from Smoke Therapy. 215 Ronkonkoma Avenue, Ronkonkoma, New York. If you're ever in the area, just come in, say hello. I'll buy you a cigar. I'll throw you on the podcast. Good night. God bless. We love you.